Today is Monday, June the 20th, at Fabco Fabrics, located at 311 Forest Street in the city of Valdosta, Georgia. We are on location. I am George Rhymes. The picture that you're looking at is our beloved 44th President of these United States. At this time, we will turn to Mr. John Robinson, who will lead us on a journey that we have yet to understand. Brother Robinson.
Yes, this is John Robinson of Doc's Ghetto Child, and we are back here at Fabco Fabrication this morning, and we just got through looking at one of the greatest soldiers of all time, the President of the United States, the first black president of our country. This is his story. And we're going to be discussing a term here this morning, a tribute put together by none other than my brother George Boston Rhymes, and we're going to be promoting this as we move along to our series with the unknown soldier. This is a tribute put together by brother George Boston Rhymes. Please listen at this, very, very good, if you can, for this is very unique.
We will now go back to the tribute to the unknown soldier. And here again, we're down at Fabco Fabrications, Mr. Naz Robinson Business. And the title of this writing, as he said, is Tribute to an Unknown Soldier. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action, at the risk of his own life, above and beyond the normal call of duty, somewhere in the Middle East near a place called the Calvary, a soldier stepped out on the battlefield of time, traveling from time into eternity, fighting with a sword called justice. At his birth, insurgents were sent out to seek the unknown, and were met by wise men who had been thoroughly trained in all manner of military maneuvers, such as espionage, sabotage, and subversion, thereby being able to break every code of the enemy and maintain the secrecy of the mission. These wise men later operated under a shadow commander, known at the time as a little child, whose mission was code-named Everlasting Life. On the battlefield of time, he worked his way through the ranks, say 42 generations, but he was falsely accused and abused by the enemy. But because of his importunity, he continued to fight with the sword of justice. He told the commanding officer of the enemy forces how his life and that of his comrades could be saved. But they laughed him to scorn and said, "We have power to live, to kill and let live." He allowed the enemy to carry him away captive, but he kept faith in his fellow comrades. Though captured and laughed to scorn, he never relinquished his weapons. When he arrived at the spot called the Place of Skull, he stood bravely though surrounded by the enemy, and thought of the training he had received from his commanding officer, and was not afraid. The enemy placed him on a platform and took his garments, which consisted of a royal robe given him by his commanding officer. By mere strength, bravery, and some unknown ghost to some, he withstood the pain of nails being driven into his flesh. He was looked down on as a soldier, accused of being a devil, and degraded as a man. Yet he never deserted nor surrendered to the enemy. And as he was suffering and dying, he yelled out to his father, "Forgive them." Then he bowed his head and gave up this ghost and said, "It is finished." The man in charge of the execution wrote a title above his head in 3 different languages, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, which may have been classified at the time, but has since been downgraded for everyone that will accept it. This great soldier was rejected, tortured, betrayed, lied on, and sentenced to death for a crime he did not commit. Willingly he gave his life for the wrongs of the world, which was above and beyond the normal call of duty. But he never received a Medal of Honor. He was wounded many times, but he never received a Purple Heart. He was the greatest pilot the world has ever known. He even flew himself into his father's house and sat down on the right hand of the master pilot. But he never received the Flying Cross. He was placed in a borrowed tomb and arose on the 3rd day. But we have omitted his name from among the world renowned upon this planet. He was a doctor, but we refused to make an appointment with him. He was a king, but we refused to give him a crown. Instead, we gave him a crown of thorns. He came through 42 generations to abolish the sins of the world. Yet he was rejected and despised by members of his own. And as he hung on the platform of time, we should have placed spices and gifts in his hand. Instead, we drove nails through his hands. He walked more than 72 miles to preach the gospel. And instead of us giving him a new pair of shoes, we drove spikes through his feet. He was a soldier that loved mankind. And after his death, we should have considered a heart transplant. Instead, we pierced him through his heart. This great soldier was not an electric clock, but on the battlefield he kept good time. He was not a nuclear bomb, but his power was devastating. He was not the ringleader or Watergate, but he spoke of a heavenly gate. He was not the MX nor a cruise missile, but his love has cruised the world over. He was not sought out by the vampire world, yet his blood was good to the last drop. This brave, outstanding soldier lives as an angel, died as a thief, and rose to be the mayor of mayors, governor of governors, president of presidents, mayor of mayors, governor of governors, king of kings, and will be crowned Lord of all. For his gallantry and heroic action, above and beyond the normal call of duty, we never presented him with the Medal of Honor, nor the Flying Cross, not even a service medal. But today we as a people should recognize him as the King of Kings, Master of Masters, supreme and everlasting comrade, beyond the wisest man's comprehension, and truly the Son of God. For his ways were not our ways, and his thoughts were not our thoughts. No, 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 no. There is no metal, nor precious stone we can give a soldier of such royal value. But we can pay tribute by living wholly before him, which is our reasonable service. No end, but one soon to come. Copyright 1984 by George Boston Rhymes. 5004 Oak Drive, Valdosta, Georgia 31605. And we are at Fabco. My brother,
yes.
John Robinson.
Yes, this is Fabco Fabrication, and we are the known soldiers that have been neglected here in our metro city. I'm going to take you around and show you what these soldiers do. The type of work that is within these soldiers, the craftsmanship that the soldiers have that we don't get any recognition. We're going to take a tour around the shop. Those of you that have witnessed us on YouTube will see what we've been doing and the progress we've made. This, of course, is my lovely granddaughter, Terry Robinson. Her father is the owner of this black-owned and operating business, and she's up here. She's our receptionist, and we're trying to get this off the ground. And we're going to take a tour out in the shop and take a look around and see some of the progress we've made on the stairs and on the steps. We as soldiers.
We are now walking out into the shop.
Yes. And
Mr. John Robinson will tell us about what is taking place here at Fabco.
These are the steps. These are mezzanine steps that was under fabrication in the last week. And we've done 2 sets of stairwells. They're going to be installed starting tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the 21st of June. And they'll be delivered out to a construction site. We have 6 more of these to do. And they were built to be built here in the shop, be carried out to the job site to be installed. They went out to the site and they did what we call elevation and setback so that it can be constructed to fit. Therefore, that will save time. That's the ingenuity involved. The dumpster here, it will be delivered, we hope for this Wednesday. It's complete. We got to finish prepping it out and painting it, and it will be done. And we have a trailer. Our trailers are loaded outside for the other 6 boxes that we're going to be doing. And as the unknown soldier, as a tribute to the unknown soldier, to us soldiers that are known, we have a bright future ahead of us, but our services have to be known. And we have a few more minutes yet to go, And my brother Ross and Ryan gonna join us here with this. And we're gonna do our very best to explain what we mean. There is $900 million. I can see a state. I can see a state to say that we have $500 million in circulation in our city. We have black activists in our city. And there are these unknown soldiers that's out here striving every day to make something happen with unique talent. That there is federal funds that we are not being able to participate in. We got a coalition we're trying to bring people together now. And they are coming together for the first time. And we're going to make this thing work. Harry, if you want to get the camera, and where we can get Brother Rand in here with us on this, if you would. And we'll take a couple of minutes. And we will work it this way. And if God will, us soldiers that know, we have the most of us pretty good here. Brother Rand, can you give them an expression on what we've been going through? I think we got about 4 more minutes, 5 more minutes here. What we've been really going through and what we've been really trying to do to bring people together.
This struggle really started back in '89 when I had a radio broadcast called the CWD broadcast. And I talked about patronizing blacks in business and going into business that we could turn some of the money around in our own community. I talked about not disliking or mistreating white folks, but I said that we have contributed to the white caucus, and therefore it's time for whites to come into our community and buy from us and help us set up businesses and make us productive like we have made them productive as well as being rich. I talked about the Indians. If they come into our community, it's time for us to set up convenience stores in their community so we can take our children out of the crime system and come into the legal system of making an honest dollar. When in 1994, I went deeper into it and talked about the New Mind broadcast. But it was only in 2009 that I met Doc Robinson on the courthouse steps here in Lowndes County when we put something together for Barack Obama. That we came together and he kept the theme going, and it's going on today like never before. Keep the dollar in the neighborhood. And so this is what's been the thrust of his book. And so today I see more along the line. He stood before the mayor. He stood before the county commissioners. He called Washington, D.C. He called people in the state of Georgia, up in Atlanta, and tell them we got to have some money in the black community if there's going to ever be a reduction in the crime rate in our community. So what we have here now is a starting point. If the people and the bankers that have the money will invest in our young people, they won't have to invest their money in the jails and prisons across this nation, but particularly here in South and Lowndes County. And so the thrust of our book, he asked me to do this. I want to say one other thing before I close. When I look at what this brother has gone through down in Florida, Indian time, and find out the lawsuit that he had, the money that the millions of dollars that he won in that lawsuit, he was not a selfish man, but he wanted to have other people involved. And so what he did, he distributed that money, a lot of it, into his own community. So what we have in Fabco is trying to reach out to all businesses to come together and do something for the good for the brotherhood of man.
And like you said, started back there in the years, and I met him back there in 1994, and he was on the radio, and he was the only man here in Lowndes County that I physically heard speaking out on the issues of like keep the dollar in the neighborhood, and it kind of reminded me of Chicago, Illinois, when they had Operation Red Basket, and you know, this kind of thing, and when we took care of our own and we worked together diligently. This is something that we need to do. Yes, I was involved. I was the lead planner for the civil litigation that I filed lawsuit against Mr. Henry Ford's son-in-law, George P. Calkins, Ms. Eleanor Ford's cousin. And we won our case. And I am in the Library of Congress. And we did pursue it, and we did win, and we settled the case with $13.5 million. And we put $8 million back into the black community there. And what we are looking to do is we want to see people come together here for the first time, black, white, Hispanics, everybody, and we want our president to invest into the urban part of America. I want to say Black America, but it's no longer a Black America because it's an integrated